What role does bacteria play in acne? There's so much misinformation about acne on social media, and one that really irks me is about bacteria and how often you should change your pillowcase and using disposable towels and all of this stuff that makes no sense. So I, a board-certified dermatologist, will walk you through the issue in depth. I'm going to put a reference on screen here to a very thorough review that's an update on all of these issues if you want to read more. My first point is that acne is not a bacterial infection. You may have heard about fungal acne versus bacterial acne online. Like, both of those are not things. Acne is a complex, chronic inflammatory disease of the skin with several contributing factors. Those factors include things like hormones, inflammation, and yes, a certain type of bacteria. That bacteria is called Cutibacterium acnes. It used to be known as Propionibacterium acnes. And this isn't typically an infectious organism. This is what's known as commensal flora. So bacteria or fungi that normally live on or in our bodies. You may not know this, but you have more bacteria and fungal cells inside and on your body than you have your own cells. You may have heard of the microbiome. This is part of that. C. acnes bacteria looks like this up close, and it can be a driver of inflammation, therefore worsening acne, inflaming lesions, etc. This C. acnes bacteria lives both on the skin surface and inside pores, and this is really where it exerts that inflammatory signature, and it plays a role in acne down here, which explains why no matter how clean you are, no matter how much you scrub your skin or change your pillowcases, it's still going to be there because it is deep in the skin. That's also kind of backed up by the research. It has been shown that people without acne and people with acne have about the same amount of this kind of bacteria on their skin. It's not like people with acne have more of that C. acnes bacteria. They're not dirtier. It's the same amount. However, the strains of the bacteria tend to be different, with some studies showing that people with acne have more of those more inflammatory types of strains of this C. acnes bacteria within their pores. Now, this is kind of like a chicken-egg situation too, because some of those strains actually do better when there is inflammation around. So we don't really know if the inflammation is causing those strains to be there, or if those strains are making the inflammation happen. Really, it's probably both. It's probably that these strains do better in inflamed skin, and thereby they're creating more inflammation, and it's a vicious cycle. This could also explain why some antimicrobial modalities work in acne, potentially by decreasing the amounts of those inflammatory strains of C. acnes bacteria. Those would be things like benzoyl peroxide or antibiotics, whether they're applied topically or taken orally. Interestingly, though, we have found that a lot of those antimicrobial therapies also have some other sort of effect. So for instance, benzoyl peroxide also helps to break up pore blockages. Medications like doxycycline are antibiotics, but also have an anti-inflammatory capacity. So some of our best therapies are working both by altering the amounts of C. acnes bacteria on the skin and by working in some other way to address the other factors that come into play with acne. So what do you do with all of this information? I would say stop being germaphobes with your skin. Like I said before, we're all covered in bacteria and fungi. And if you have acne, this type of bacteria, it's like normal to be on everybody's skin. That's why interventions like using disposable facial towels or changing your pillowcase every night are not proven acne therapies. Because clearly people without acne are not doing those things, and they have the same amounts of this type of bacteria on their skin because it lives there. This also explains why acne is not infectious, it's not communicable. However, as I mentioned before, we could kind of exploit the role of P. acnes within this condition to offer some really effective treatments. As always, the best person to talk to about your acne is a board-certified dermatologist. If you can't get to one, your primary doctor can help you too. Leave any of your acne questions in the comments. I want to answer them.